I fulfilled Lucas's dream which, by the way, you couldn't do, Auntie. She said, flaunting her newborn baby to me. Seeing me struggle for words, Emma smiled smugly. Our baby looks cute like Emma, doesn't she? She's probably gonna be a model or actress someday, said Lucas, my betraying husband, piling on. Guess it's time to head back. We've shown off our happiness to Mia, the singleton, and I'm really satisfied today, Lucas said, sharing a sly grin with Emma. What do they think of children? It's like they're using the baby as a mere tool to flaunt to me, who couldn't have children. I was nearing my limit with their attitudes. Then I realized something. Huh? This child? What's up with you all of a sudden? Lucas reacted slightly to my voice as I muttered without thinking. Suddenly, I found the situation amusing and chuckled. Gently stroking the baby's cheek, I said. She's like an angel, but her skin. As I revealed a certain truth, the smug smiles on their faces instantly froze. My name is Mia Brown, 52 years old. My husband Lucas is an executive at a major trading company, and I have supported him as a housewife for many years. Lucas sometimes brings his subordinates home to enjoy my home cooking. Mostly, he boasts about his younger days. The subordinates Lucas brought over would say, "Wow, that's impressive," and politely chuckle through his long stories. When they praised my cooking as delicious, Lucas would smirk and say, "Well, that's about the only talent she has and she should be grateful to be fed by a high earner like me, otherwise, she's just a burden," belittling me in front of them. I'd be lying if I said it didn't bother me, but I've always told myself I'm not in a position to argue. We've been married for almost 30 years, yet we don't have children. I always dreamed of having at least 2 kids after getting married, and we spent time and money on fertility treatments, but we weren't blessed with children. I felt a sense of guilt for not being able to bear children. So, no matter how insensitive Lucas's comments were, I'd just smile and think, I can endure this much. Besides, when Lucas talked about work, his eyes sparkled like a boy's, and I was happy to be a part of his strength. After all, I'm in love with Lucas. Besides cooking, I had another talent. Sewing, a hobby I've had since my student days. I started by imitating my mother sewing dolls by hand, and they became quite popular among my friends. Utilizing that skill, I started making stuffed toys and charm bags, hoping to help out with the household finances, even just a little. It might not amount to much compared to my high-earning husband's income. Still, I continued this modest side job, driven by the desire to at least feed Lucas something delicious. On weekends, our niece Emma often comes to stay at our apartment. Emma is the only daughter of my sister, Nora, and works in administration at a small trading company. There was a reason she came to stay over. It was to support an up-and-coming idol group. You know, Mateo was on TV for a bit the other day. Man, he was so cool. Emma arrived fanning herself with a fan that had a young man's photo on it. This young man, Mateo, was the leader of the idol group on her fan. Their group holds regular performances at a club near our apartment every weekend, and that's why she stays over to match their schedule. Emma, you've got even more merchandise recently, haven't you? Each time Emma visited, the pile of her belongings in our room grew. Well, when new merchandise comes out, I just gotta have it. And Mateo is the most popular, so everything sells out as soon as it's released. I absolutely have to get it. I could only smile wryly at my niece's excitement before a performance. Indeed, buying merchandise of your favorite idol is a joy for a fan, and I used to collect records of my favorite singers, so I understand the feeling. However, I wondered if it was necessary to bring all these purchased goods to our house. Isn't it hard to carry all that around? It's fine. I store the merchandise I buy here. Emma nonchalantly placed her belongings in a corner of our bedroom. It's just me and my husband living here, so it's not that spacious. Oh, come on. It's fine. Uncle Lucas just comes home to sleep anyway. I had no choice but to accept my niece's whims. Oh, and this, I forgot. My mom gave it to me to bring. Saying this, Emma took out a package of premium tea leaves from her bag. My sister's family occasionally sends gifts when Emma stays with us, and she always brings something like this every time. You really don't have to go to all this trouble. After graduating high school, Nora worked out of state until she was 30. Then, she took over the family's gift shop, and Charles, who had been working there as an employee, joined the family as a son-in-law. Ever since a big shopping mall opened nearby, our business has really taken a hit. I always tell them they don't need to bother with gifts. I'm sorry for all the trouble Emma's causing. My sister kept apologizing over the phone, saying, I'm sorry for all the trouble Emma's causing, with a tone of regret. But Emma herself has been pushing the limits lately. She started entering our room even when me and my husband weren't home. It turns out, Lucas had given her a spare key. She comes over every week, so it's just more convenient for her to have a key, right? Lucas said, always too lenient with Emma. You're the best, Uncle Lucas. You totally get it. Saying that, Emma hugged Lucas's arm, and Lucas relaxed his facial muscles with a pleased grin. Well, can't help it, I guess. At first, I tried to be as accommodating as possible. But then, one day, about 3 months later, an envelope with cash that should have been in my bedroom drawer was missing. When I asked Emma about it later, she replied without any remorse, sorry, Auntie. I borrowed it. I just had to have Mateo's new merchandise. Emma looked at me with a pleading face, but she's working and should be earning enough to live comfortably. She's making a decent income, enough not to struggle with living expenses. Wouldn't it be more satisfying to buy things with money you earned yourself? Of course, I'd love to buy with my own salary. But it's just not enough. She said casually, which really worried me. How much money was she pouring into collecting her idol's merchandise? And it wasn't just about the money. Recently, my skincare products like lotions and creams have been disappearing rapidly. Lucas has never been one to care about skincare, so it had to be Emma. When I confronted her, Emma casually admitted to her wrongdoing. Sorry, Auntie. I just thought I'd use it since it was there. What does she mean since it was there? That cream was quite expensive, you know. As I frowned, Emma mockingly shivered and rubbed her arms. Auntie, you're scary. Then Lucas came over and stood next to Emma, laughing with her at me. It's no big deal, he said. Don't laugh, Lucas. You should be telling her off. Don't get mad. You look older when you frown like that, he joked. Lucas usually doesn't joke much, but for some reason, he becomes more talkative when Emma is around. I found this particularly unpleasant and couldn't help feeling upset about it. Anyway, I don't want you using things in our house without asking anymore. Emma, you have a job. Buy your own stuff. If you use my things without permission again, I won't let you stay over anymore. I'll tell your mom the same. When I scolded Emma, Lucas, with a flushed face, said this. Get real. The things you're using, you didn't earn them, did you? I earned everything with my job. I'm not living in luxury. I've been cutting back, just making do. I'm not using it for fun like Emma. It's my money I earned. If I say it's okay for Emma to use it, then let her use it freely. Being yelled at by Lucas made me feel like crying. Indeed, most of our income was earned by him, so I couldn't argue further. Feeling unsupported and lonely, I scrolled through my phone to my sister's contact, but thought, no, I can't rely on her for something so trivial. I stopped just before making the call and returned to the main screen of my smartphone. My sister and her husband must be preoccupied with their struggling gift shop sales. Complaining about my husband at such a time would only add unnecessary worry to them. Marital issues should be solved between us. Unable to confide in anyone, I carried my unsettled feelings day by day. On a particularly cold Sunday morning in winter, a friend from my student days had invited me to go shopping. I decided to wear a fur coat I hadn't worn since I bought it long time ago. I had already informed Lucas, who had a rare day off. I will be back by evening, but if I'm late, could you eat by yourself? Just reheat yesterday's leftovers in the microwave. Don't worry about me. Enjoy your day off. Lucas said with a big smile as he saw me off. Lucas, who usually belittles me in front of his colleagues, becomes caring when it's just the two of us. I genuinely felt happy to be married to him. However, when I arrived at the station, my plans changed after a call from my friend. Sorry. My husband strained his back and can't move. Bad timing, but we have to reschedule. It's all right. But, next time, you're treating me to fancy French cuisine. After jokingly responding to my friend's repeated apologies and hanging up, I thought, well, what now? I tried to rethink my plans for the day, but nothing specific came to mind. With nothing else to do, I decided to head back to my home where my loving husband was waiting. On the way, I stopped at the supermarket to pick up some ingredients for lunch and headed to our apartment. I thought of making Lucas some warm stew. As I opened the door, the heat from the heater hit me along with a strong scent of perfume. At the same time, I noticed Emma's shoes, which are always there on weekends. "Emma, are you here?" I called out, but there was no response. I headed to the living room, but it was empty. Strange, where could they both be? It seemed like they hadn't gone out since I could feel someone's presence. I stored the groceries in the fridge and decided to look around the apartment again. From the bedroom, I could hear Lucas's snoring. Was he taking a nap this early in the day? I didn't know much about Lucas's job, but being a vice president, I assumed his weekdays were probably tough. So, I thought I should let him sleep on his rare days off. However, when I opened the door to see Lucas's face, an unbelievable scene before my eyes made me doubt what I was seeing. On the bed, where Lucas and I usually slept, lay Lucas and Emma, both naked and sleeping side by side. They were both breathing deeply in sleep, completely unaware of my return. "Oh, you," I called out in a barely audible voice. The feeling of disappointment in my husband was stronger than my anger. After calling him several times, Lucas finally opened his heavy eyelids. Is that you, Mia? You're back earlier than I expected," he said, half asleep, and closed his eyes again. "Welcome back, Emma." Emma slowly stretched and sat up, murmuring sleepily. As Emma became aware of my presence, she shook Lucas's body next to her. "Uncle Lucas, wake up. We've been caught. Wake up." Her voice was playful, like a child who got caught while playing hide and seek, as she spoke to Lucas with a mischievous smile. Lucas, looking annoyed, sat up and said, "What, we've been caught already," and sighed wearily before yawning casually. "What do you mean?" The reality of being betrayed by the one I had always trusted left me unable to even express my anger. "What do you mean, what?" "It's just as you see. We're in that kind of relationship. Both of you, get dressed right now," I said with a calmness that surprised even myself, directing the two naked individuals. 2 hours later, my in-laws and my sister's family came at my request. "Sorry, sis, brother-in-law, to bother you when you're busy. Don't worry about us. More importantly," my sister consoled me by rubbing my back and then turned a cold glare towards Lucas and Emma. "What is the meaning of this? Explain it so we can understand." My sister scolded Emma, but Emma just avoided eye contact and kept sighing. She was checking the latest updates of her idol group on her phone. "This is not the situation for that," my sister said, snatching the phone away, and Emma clicked her tongue in annoyance. "Mia, I'm so sorry for our foolish son's outrageous behavior," my mother-in-law Grace said, tears in her eyes, bowing to me. My in-laws are both over 80, and it must have been hard for them to come here in the cold. "Was it really necessary to bother these old folks?" Lucas said irritably. Matthew, my father-in-law, slammed his hand on the table. "Don't you have any sense of responsibility?" "Exactly. Such a terrible betrayal to Mia." "I can't believe you," Grace said in a dismayed voice. Grace said in a dismayed voice, glaring at Lucas. "Lucas, how could this happen? You better have a great explanation to this." "What's there to explain? Any man would prefer a young and pretty girl like Emma over an old lady like her." "Don't lump me in with you. I'm ashamed to be the same gender as you," Matthew shouted in anger, showing no signs of remorse from Lucas. "And Emma, you too. How could you make Mia, who has always been so kind to you, so sad? Where did we go wrong in raising you?" Charles, my usually quiet brother-in-law, sighed in disappointment. Then, defiantly, Emma said, "Actually, it wasn't Aunt Mia who took care of me, it was Uncle Lucas. He bought me anything I wanted, you know. He even said I could use any of the cosmetics and bags in this house as much as I liked." "Unlike stingy Aunt Mia," she said, showing no signs of remorse. "Emma, apologize to Mia right now." "No way. Why should I apologize to such an aunt? An apology doesn't matter. Even if she apologizes, it won't restore my relationship with Lucas," I said calmly. What was the point of the 30 years I devoted to Lucas? Despite his demeaning remarks about me in public, I had always endured. I could do this because I believed he loved me. However, now that I knew of Lucas's betrayal, everything I had upheld collapsed in an instant. "Let's get a divorce. There's no other option." "Mia, are you sure about this?" my sister asked. I nodded firmly in response. Oh, thank you, Mia. Now we can get married openly, Lucas said, pulling Emma closer. The two of them, without any regard for the family's presence, gazed into each other's eyes. On our way here, your father and I decided. If you showed no remorse today, we would disown you, my sister said to Emma, anger and sadness in her voice. That's fine with me. I can manage without you guys, and besides, I have Uncle Lucas now. Then that settles it. Don't ever set foot in our house again, Charles said in a firm tone. Echoing this, my in-laws announced, Lucas, we too have decided to disown you as of today. My sister, her husband, and my in-laws bowed to me once more before leaving in a heavy atmosphere. Afterward, my divorce from Lucas was finalized. The divorce settlement, handled through lawyers, granted me the right to demand alimony from both Lucas and Emma. But Lucas said, I don't want to burden Emma, and ended up paying the full amount of alimony for both of them. Less than a month after our divorce, Lucas remarried Emma. I'm an executive at a major trading company. I have plenty of financial leeway. You can have all our shared property since you're jobless, Lucas said, renouncing his share of our property out of pride. In addition to that, he had to pay alimony for both himself and Emma, which seemed to be putting him in a tough financial situation. But that was no longer my concern, so I decided to move forward without worrying about Lucas. I moved back to my parents' home and began helping out at the gift shop run by my sister and her husband. Both my elderly parents were in a care facility. On days when my sister and her husband visited our parents, I took over the shop. Sorry to always make you help out. I'm the one imposing. I can't just eat without doing anything, I said. My sister and her husband always showed concern for me, especially since their daughter had caused such trouble. I felt more apologetic than grateful, knowing their concern. 3 years after returning to my parents' home, during the summer, Lucas and Emma suddenly appeared right in front of me. What are you guys doing here? I wondered as their smiling faces entered my view while I was tending the shop, a dark, uneasy feeling spreading in my chest. Long time no see, Aunt Mia. Emma, who greeted me, was cradling a newborn baby in her arms. Seeing the baby, I was lost for words. Emma holding the baby meant it must be her child. And naturally, Lucas would be the father. Seeing me at a loss for words, Emma wore a triumphant smile. I fulfilled a Lucas's dream which, by the way, you couldn't do, Auntie, she said while soothing the baby. Previously, she called Lucas Uncle Lucas, but now she called him by his first name. This reality shook me deeply. Then my sister and her husband, who had been out, returned. You too? What are you doing here? Is that how you greet your daughter who's come home after 3 years? Emma retorted, showing off the baby to my sister and her husband. Look, Mom, our baby. Her name is Charlotte. She's your first grandchild. Oh, that's nice. Nora said this without any emotion, not even meeting her daughter's eyes. Emma turned to me and smiled. I came to announce the birth. Celebrate with us, Auntie. Say hello to Charlotte. Stop it. What are you thinking, really? Can't you consider me as feelings for once? Charles, usually mild-mannered, raised his voice, unable to contain his emotions this time. Our child is cute and looks just like Emma, right? She'll probably be a model or actress in the future, Lucas said, doting over the baby. Lucas said this, doting over the baby. Frustrated, my sister grabbed a broom, trying to chase them away. Please leave. This is not your place. You're disturbing our business, so just go away. Maybe it's time to leave. We've bragged enough about our happiness to lonely Mia. I'm very satisfied with today, Lucas said, exchanging a smug look with Emma. I wondered what they really thought of their child. They probably just flaunted it in front of me to bask in a sense of superiority, treating it merely as a tool for that purpose. I sadly watched the baby in Emma's arms. Then, I realized something. Wait, this child? What's wrong? Lucas asked, puzzled by my head tilt. I suddenly found it amusing and started to laugh, haha. What's the matter, laughing all of a sudden? Are you okay? Auntie, did the shock make you go crazy? I gently stroked the baby's cheek and said. She's like an angel, but her skin. Her skin? What about her skin? She looks very healthy. Unlike Lucas, she has a beautiful tan. The baby's skin was indeed a striking tan, unlike Lucas's fair complexion. What's wrong with that? No one in my family or relatives has such tan skin. So? There are people with tan skin in the world. Oh, now that you mention it, Emma once said her grandfather was tan. That's called skip-generation inheritance, right? Lucas speculated with a knowing look, raising his index finger. But as he spoke, my suspicions about Emma transformed into certainty. Impossible. What do you mean, impossible? Lucas demanded, suddenly anxious and raising his voice. I walked away, retrieving an old family album from a closet that my grandparents had used. Here it is. I have something I want Lucas to see, I said, showing him a photo from the album. It's just a regular family photo. The photo showed me, my sister, our parents, and grandparents, taken in front of the gift shop when my parents first opened it. The tall man on the right, that's my grandfather, Emma's great-grandfather. The tall man on the right, that's my grandfather, Emma's great-grandfather, I explained. So, what about it? It's a normal family photo, Lucas said, still clueless. Do you notice anything? Look closely to his skin. His skin? He's quite fair. So what? That's normal, isn't it? Lucas still didn't grasp the reality. Lucas seemed not to have grasped the reality yet. Contrasting his confused look, Emma's face had turned pale. Enough of this. I need to feed Charlotte. Let's go home, she said, tugging at Lucas's shirt. As Lucas, still oblivious, began to leave, urged by Emma, I decided to give them another hint. None of my family members, not even my grandfather, have tan skin. None of my relatives do. Wait, what are you implying? At this point, Lucas finally seemed to understand what I was implying. Basically, the chances of a child with tan skin being born to you too is 0. I said emphatically. Lucas began to tremble. It's a waste of time being here. Let's just go, okay? Emma kept urging Lucas, but now that he understood the situation, he didn't move. He turned to Emma and confronted her harshly. What does this mean? If a tan child can't be born between you and me, then whose child is this? I have something else I want you to see, I said, snatching a keychain with Mateo's photo, which Emma always carried, and showing it to Lucas. Mateo was a well-known half-Japanese, half-Southeast Asian idol, as he publicly stated in his profile. Emma had always praised Mateo's unique looks as so cool. This kid. She has exactly the same skin color as Mateo. Emma initially looked frightened but then defiantly laughed. Ah well, the cat's out of the bag. Exactly. Charlotte isn't your child. She's mine and Mateo's, she admitted. When I flirted a bit, he immediately fell for me, Emma boasted about her relationship with Mateo. Emma boasted about her relationship with Mateo. You've been cheating on me? Like, seriously, did you really think a young and cute girl like me would be attracted to an uncle like you? That's so hilarious. How naive can you be? I approached you just because you're an executive at a good company and seemed rich. Having lots of money meant I could buy more of Mateo's merchandise. By buying lots and giving him gifts, I could have him all to myself. So I was just an ATM to you. Lucas realized angrily. Of course. I've been putting up with this for the money. Who would share a bed with an uncle like you otherwise? I've let you dream for 3 years. You should be thanking me. What? In front of my sister and me, who were taken aback, Emma and Lucas started arguing. Both of you, stop it. The baby is crying. Can't you hear her cries? My sister yelled, stopping their quarrel. I don't want to see this disgraceful behavior any longer. You two are nothing to us, just strangers. Just go away. Chased away by my sister, Emma and Lucas left. Poor Charlotte. I frankly thought so. 2 months passed, and then one day. Lucas came to see me alone this time. Suddenly, he knelt down in front of the store and, without any shame, begged me, please, Mia, let's start over. We had a DNA test, which confirmed there was no blood relation between me and Charlotte, meaning I had been deceived. Oh, really? So? I just couldn't forgive Emma and Mateo for conspiring against me, tricking me into believing I was the father of a child that wasn't mine. So I went backstage at their concert and demanded they pay me compensation. Oh my, that must have been quite the ordeal for you. I wasn't particularly interested, but I decided to listen to his story anyway. I was already aware of the situation, having seen it on TV and in magazines. Mateo had an affair with a married fan and was accused of deceiving her husband into raising the child. This scandal brought the previously obscure idol group into the national spotlight. The backlash was so intense that Mateo's agency had to terminate his contract, as reported on various talk shows. Due to the nationwide backlash, Mateo's agency found it impossible to defend him and eventually terminated his contract, as reported by the talk shows. I saw it on TV too, he got what he deserved. Right? They're really terrible. Lucas agreed, smiling as if he had found a kindred spirit. Moreover, the tabloids relentlessly investigated, not even sparing Emma, Mateo's partner. Astonishingly, Emma was involved with multiple men besides Mateo, earning money. Her aim, apparently, was to lavish Mateo with gifts. You see? I was just another poor victim deceived by them. So please, give me another chance, let's start over. No. Ignoring Lucas's tearful pleas for reconciliation, I responded in a flat, unemotional tone. I then called my brother-in-law from the back of the store to remove Lucas, who was trying to stay, and had him escorted out of the store. If you keep bothering Mia, I'll call the police. My brother-in-law warned in a stern voice, and Lucas walked away dejectedly. A month later, the tabloid coverage had died down somewhat, but the stories about Mateo and Emma continued. Reports suggested that Mateo, out of work and expelled from the group, was exploiting Emma. Emma apparently started working in the nightlife to earn living expenses. Raising a child was difficult for her due to financial struggles. Eventually, my sister and her husband, feeling sorry for Charlotte, decided to take her in and raise her. Despite everything that happened, the fact remains that this child is our granddaughter, my sister said. That's right, the child is innocent. They both take care of Charlotte while running their gift shop every day. As for me, I moved out of my parents' house and opened the sewing class I always dreamed of. I couldn't always rely on my sister and her husband. Although Nora told me I could stay as long as I needed, I had my own aspirations. When I told her about my plans, she gave me a strong supportive push forward. Charlotte's first birthday is coming up soon. What should I get her for a present? Half wanting to see Charlotte and half wanting to see my sister and her husband, I still find time to visit their gift shop occasionally.